Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Carl Groton in studio today for Jordan Kintons, who has the holiday off. Glad that you're with us here today. Come by and stop if you're off of work today, as many people are. Good day to stop by and have lunch with us here at Rufino's. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning.
And we got a ton of stuff going on this weekend. Of course, the Final Four, both men's and women's. This weekend, we got a full slate of SEC baseball, which got started for 6 of the 8 series last night. Boy, you're talking about a logjam in the conference. Talk about that in a second. LSU gymnastics moves into the Saturday round, trying to get to the finals. Kalen Chio.
How'd they do?
They set their season high.
Oh, really?
Score last night, 198-375. And Chio had 2 more 10s. I'm running out of superlatives. I'm running out of superlatives. I didn't know if we'd ever see somebody like Haley Bryan again put scores up like that. And it's not that
Was Haley Bryan doing this as a sophomore?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But Chio's accomplishments so far this season, it really, and for somebody who's a modest gymnastics follower, I've kind of gotten into it. My wife loves it, so we end up watching a lot of this stuff together. And she has been just phenomenal. So that 198-375 matched their previous high score, which was back in February. That's a good enough score to win the national title. If you I would take that score right now in Fort Worth against Oklahoma, Florida, UCLA, whoever, and say, come get me. If you can beat that, God bless. Chio's leading the way, but that entire team is really, really strong and got a shot to win it all, but they'll get into the Saturday round, try to get to Fort Worth. So got that going on. Some interesting comments from Jay Johnson as well from a Major League Baseball standpoint. Talk a little bit of. They asked him, and I think I know what this is, but they asked him about Tony Vitello. You know, this came up because LSU's playing at Tennessee, and he said, have you ever thought about managing in the big leagues? And he said, no, not right now. Not right now, which is a little bit of a departure from, hey, listen, this is the job I've got, the job I want, the job I'll, never leave. This was not something that ever was on my radar, that a college baseball coach would be considered for.
He's got to be offered first.
Right.
I mean, who besides Vitello's even been offered?
Nobody. Not that I know of.
Right.
Now, I shouldn't say that. There have been managers with gaps, okay, like Pat Murphy, okay, was longtime coach at Arizona State,
right,
and now with the Brewers.
Back-to-back NL manager of the year.
Right. Dick Hauser, if you remember, Dick Hauser was a coach at Florida State before Mike Martin. Then went on the Royals. Was a world champion manager. So it's not completely unprecedented, but it's highly unusual. Who cheated?
The Royals.
Well, they didn't cheat. They got a call.
That guy he's a Kansas City guy.
No,
just...
he missed the call.
I'd say he missed it.
No doubt about that. But no, he said at this time, he said, I haven't been offered a job, is what I'll say. I think, this is my opinion, that Johnson is trying to remind the administration, as he does. He's a lot softer with it than maybe some of the other coaches. But, hey, don't take this for granted over here. I need some money to keep this going. This isn't automatic. Yeah, I'm going to get out and beat the streets for dollars and players, but y'all got to help too. And so you got a new football coach, you got a new basketball coach. That's great. I hope everybody does well. He's at all the press conferences, he's at sports, everything. But, hey, don't forget about me.
That's your interpretation, and I agree 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Just I mean, he's because he wants. I mean, the previous basketball coach was they gave him a lot, and he wasn't doing a whole lot on his own.
Right.
Johnson's hustling, Mulkey's hustling, Wade's going to hustle, Kiffin. I mean, we're still seeing him here, but just his hiring has created interest, excitement / donors.
Yes.
So I mean, no, everybody's going. They only have so much pie from the university.
The rev share, yeah.
Okay, and so, I mean, I think you just do it like, and I think this is what's going to happen. They're going to do it, which is pretty much standard operation for the bigger programs in the SEC. Not like Kentucky, because they are shifted way more men's basketball. Not like Alabama. Mulkey won't get a dime if it's Alabama.
Right.
Okay, and that's not going to happen. Okay, maybe her successor won't get what she's getting, but she's going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, she's going to get. I mean, none of them are going to get what they want. But that's old as dirt.
Well,
that is old as dirt. As far, Berman said, yeah, every coach is on mother wants more. Every coach. That's old as dirt.
Not only is that okay, I like it. I don't want any of those coaches to get complacent. Yeah, I got enough. We're good. You constantly want them pushing because everybody else is. So I'm fine.
You know what I heard though? Last couple of days, 2 days in a row.
So.
Some Will Wade love indirectly.
Wow, was somebody drunk? Did they do it by mistake?
First of all, Rick Neuheisel spotlighted Boot Carrigan and said, hey, man, you got to wake up. Like, if you can see that the guy he worked for at McNeese, who publicly went out of his way to say how great Will was and how great to deal with and what he meant to the university, and when he got hired at LSU, if you weren't alerted, that's on you.
Yeah.
Okay, that one. And then, did you see the Boot Carrigan press conference, the Gainey press conference?
I didn't see the Gainey one. I saw the one before that.
So this is the ultimate knee jerk. What do we dislike about our previous hire?
Not loyal.
He's disloyal.
Not one of
so
our
we're going to
guys.
bring in an NC State guy.
Yeah.
So he talks about Jason Gainey. His name's Justin.
Oops. A little small omission. Little small.
He's so one of us. I don't know his name.
You got to be genuine. You got to be genuine.
So that I'm saying, but indirectly, that I can't believe it. Like you said, drunk. But if you care, don't care. Who care? We run our show. You worry about everybody else. But it's kind of a little bit, boo with a boo boo.
Yeah, you
get a couple of boo boos.
You remember when Bobby Petrino got the job and Frank Broyles was at the press conference? Like, so happy to see Coach Broyle here. Frank Broyles? You don't know Frank Broyles' name? Come on, man. That's more than just a little slip, right?
Best coach to ever come through there. You better know.
If you have one person to be associated with Arkansas athletics in its history, it's Frank Broyles. I mean, my goodness.
This isn't live, huh? There's no way, huh?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We're watching college
SEC
baseball.
again. I was hoping so. I'd love to get a little matinees.
LSU starts at 4:30.
Well, we got MLB. We got some matinee. Oh, that's a cool start time.
Yeah.
I like that.
Helps.
Because it's a holiday. It's not a usual day.
No.
If it was a normal work week, it'd be different. But I like that. You like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do they have a 4:30, 7:30 doubleheader?
No,
just okay.
They're playing on Easter Sunday. One or two.
No,
series.
I'm talking about SEC Network.
Oh, Max, check that
What the
out.
hell do you think I'm talking about, boy?
I thought you were asking if LSU was playing.
Come on, Boo Hannegriff.
I thought you were saying they're playing 2 games today.
What's your favorite Easter egg?
The hollow chocolate.
The hollow chocolate. It's a hollow egg.
The hollow one.
It's just chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of bull?
You asked me. Why do you have to approve of my?
I know, but is it a Heavenly Hash? Is it a Reese's? Is it a Gold Brick? Is it
whoever the big brand is that makes the chocolate eggs?
Oh my God!
I'm sorry, I'm not well versed on chocolate egg brands. Despite my appearance, I don't eat a ton of chocolate.
Oh my God!
Sorry. Hey, I was going to tell you.
Is Gold Brick a New Orleans thing? Because it's from Elmer's, out of New Orleans. Like they make the Cheewees, not the Cheetos. Elmer's. You ever heard of Gold Brick?
Yeah.
Elmer's
Very
made
popular
Elmer's made a little jar of like gold brick sauce that you like put over. It's like over ice cream, like vanilla ice cream.
That sounds pretty good.
I mean, I don't know. They used to give me like 2 gold brick, 2 heavenly hash, 2 Reese's, peanut butter, whatever. I think the Elmer's ones, whatever. Again, the New Orleans thing, but gold brick, man. I try and get up in the middle of the night and give my sister all the heavenly hash and scoop her gold bricks. I mean, yes, I was working. Max, your favorite Easter egg? Don't tell me chocolate like this guy.
Reese's.
Yeah, there you
butter,
go. See,
maybe
you see what we're doing here, Charlie?
I do.
Caramel or caramel?
Caramel.
I say both. I kind of interchange it. Caramel, caramel.
It's. I know you want to get close to Pebble Beach, but it's caramel. It's not caramel.
No, it's caramel. There's no second A. They just don't even say that. The second game after SC Network will be a softball game, Texas Alabama.
Well, there you go. Okay. So it's a little baseball, softball doubleheader. Okay. 7:30. All right.
Wild night in the league last night.
Yeah. I mean,
unranked Ole Miss beat ranked Florida. Unranked
Hot
Vanderbilt
State. State lost 10-9, huh?
They did. They were down.
What a game! I watched that one. Yeah.
They were down 10-2 and got all the way back to 10-9. That's 2 top 5 teams, Georgia and Mississippi State.
Georgia's top 5. I didn't know that.
Georgia's in first place right now. They're 8-2. The big shocker was South Carolina demolished Texas.
Where have you gone, Tony V?
South Carolina beat Texas 9-1 last night, and Texas threw their Friday night guy. They threw Rojas last night, and South Carolina shelled him. They got him out in the third inning. So you had 3 unranked teams beat ranked teams, and three lower
Texas.
9-1.
Damn.
And 3 lower ranked teams beat higher ranked teams last night. So
a lot of wind at the Valero today. But Max's first one, it was not a consensus, but Bobby Mack. I mean, it's got to be. He missed a very makeable birdie just now on 11, but he's got another birdie attempt on 12. 10 under, 1-stroke lead over Smalley. Oberg, 2 back. So, Max.
Yeah, McIntyre, he did bogey 17, which is kind of a gettable hole, but I was thinking about this and. Maybe a little rude for a Good Friday, but he and Will Wade both share a couple things in common. They're
but you're really reaching today, huh?
They both spent time at McNeese State.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, all right, okay.
That's not rude.
All right,
and, their build has been mocked.
Oh, now that's not in the spirit of Good Friday.
A little cheap.
My buddy Jack LaLanne, Max, huh? I mean, the picture of health over here.
Does he know who Jack LaLanne is?
I don't.
He's
no
like,
idea.
Okay. I don't even know. This my dad used to say it all the time.
Jack LaLanne basically invented weightlifting. I mean, he's the number 1 fitness guy for 50 years. He was doing it before anybody else.
When's the last time
did.
you've been in a gym, boy?
This week.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Come on.
Okay.
Can't tell. But, Valero Texas Open, as you mentioned, a little windy today, as expected. Might die down, well, actually pick up a little bit as the day progresses. Die down tomorrow, and then Sunday it picks up again. But he's got a 1-shot lead over Alex Smalley. Ludwig Oberg, always a little bit worrisome to be in the mix. He's tied for third.
Oh, not worrisome for me. I got him.
Okay, well, there you go.
Him.
But worrisome on Sundays if you have him.
Yes, he is. He has not been the best closer. No.
But look, we talked about the Masters next week is open because normally there's been a dominant player coming in, and that player has gone on to win. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, both were playing great in their last 2 Masters events and ended up winning the Masters. Right now, I don't know who the dominant player is. There really hasn't been one in the PGA Tour or LIV seasons thus far. Maybe Jon Rahm on LIV, but he's only won 1 time there. But I'm really intrigued for next week, and we'll see if one of these players who is playing this week already or playing next week already does end up getting the job done and comes in with a win.
Hello, friends. Our appetizer features today over here at Ruffino's, the beef and pork meatballs, truffle oil. It's a polpetti. I mean, you got me on this one. Polpettee. Charlie?
Sounds good to me.
Guarana fondant and focaccia bread. The crab cakes as an appetizer. Louisiana lump crab meat with sriracha aioli with Asian spices. Entree features today: redfish on the half shell. That's right. Scales down, grill and mud. Crawfish cornbread stuffed with redfish. Sweet potato militant hash with a Creole Meunier sauce. Suggested wine pairing is a Frank Family Chardonnay out of Napa. In a rack of lamb with a couscous risotto, honey thyme glazed carrots, and Italia salsa verde. Wine pairing is a Morgan Pinot Noir from Santa Lucia.
Jamar Chase likes Melitol. We learned that at Thanksgiving.
He knows how to say it, huh?
Big fan. They did not know who it was. The NBC broadcast.
Jamar Chase grew up less than a half a mile from our house. Yeah. Oakdale Cardinal, yes. And went over the bridge to Rummel. And when Hank Tierney got back at Shaw, their practice shirts, undershirts, and other pads said, "The bridge is closed."
It's pretty important.
It turned it around a little bit over at Shaw, huh?
It was a pretty important flip when they flipped him from Florida. That might have flipped the national championship that year. Because if Chase, I've said this since that game, if Chase is playing for Florida that night in Tiger Stadium, Florida had a chance to beat LSU. As good as that team was, if Chase is playing on the other team, Florida had a chance.
So it worked out for everyone.
It did. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, you can always get the show on demand.
That's
on demand, 104.5 ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. Hey, knock that music down, please.
Carl, kill the bomb music. Thank you, Carl.
Yeah.
As soon as we start talking, just fade that down to zero.
Yeah. The show available on demand, 104.5 ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, Handycast on YouTube. Brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business here in 2026. For more information, go to SupremeRice.com.
Let's go out to San Diego, talk to our buddy Chris Massaro. Chris, favorite Easter egg. What's up, buddy?
New intro music. What was that? What was that new intro there? It was loud and
it is a holiday.
For early morning.
You should know, Catholic growing up in Boston, you should know it's Good Friday. Everybody has a day off but us, okay? We have the strongest work ethic of our lineup. That's obvious. But, I mean, so anyway. But favorite Easter egg, huh? Do you have one?
Favorite Easter egg? I would go with
everyone loves get candy as a kid, huh?
Oh, yeah, a lot of candy. But I'm thinking those Cadbury, the cream eggs there, the big egg where you open up, it's like the caramel and the combo marshmallow thing with the chocolate. Pretty good.
Yes, he's white. He's white linen. You see? Yeah. He's Charlie said hollow. So but anyway.
No, definitely not the hollow. No, not the hollow. No, not the hollow. No, you gotta have some caramel inside.
You ever get one of the big chocolate bunnies?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, it was a big deal whether it was full chocolate or hollow.
Ooh.
Hollow was like kind of the discount aisle.
My thing was, where do you start to eat it?
The ears.
The ears? Yeah. I think so.
That's easy.
That seems quite painful for the Easter Bunny.
Well, if you said the tail, I'd be concerned.
There was always some disappointment. There was always some disappointment if you had the hollow bunny.
Yes.
Especially if it was a big one, you were excited. You could put it in the fridge. It could last for the whole week. But if it was hollow, pretty much, you ate it right away.
So from what I understand, it's coming down the stretch, and our podcast partner, Mr. Paul Stone, and my longtime buddy and Delmar colleague, Mr. Massaro, is in a dead heat. Coming down the stretch, huh?
Yeah, there's a little bit of controversy as we are tied points-wise. But no, here we go. Well, this is the humans controversy. So apparently we are tied, same exact point structure. I have a better best bet record, which is not really even a good record. I'm 3-3. He's 2-4. And for all these years in these VSiN circuit contests, the best bet record has always been the tiebreaker. But apparently, 2 weeks ago at like 2:45 a.m., which is, the time humans is just getting going or just getting home, he sends out an email to differentiate between what the tiebreaker is supposed to be and what it might be and this and that. And supposedly you were supposed to put in your final 4 teams and who was going to win the championship. But this was started 2 weeks after the tournament started, after the contest started.
Yes.
So I think it's a little controversial. And and we were. I was with Mr. Humans on Wednesday night at the Crown tournament, and I go, listen, it's always been best bet record. He goes, nope. He goes, best bet record is the second tiebreaker. So I'm just going to have to win it outright because I don't have my tiebreaker picks in. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh, but I mean, Humans. Well, what do you expect? I mean, the guy has been compromised. I mean, Singapore. I mean, Bangkok. I mean, the lack of this sleep deprivation. I mean, where do we start? So
he's a machine.
Anyway,
he's a machine.
He is a machine. He is a machine. He is a machine. There's no doubt about that. So, all right. Before we get to your picks, anything you take away, Chris, because the narrative going into this thing was, okay, Cinderella is she dead, okay? And I think it's very obvious, if not dead, severely damaged, weakened, whatever you want to. I mean, oh, geez, I'm drawing a blank. The high point. The high points are going to be more rare and rare as we go. Record number of high numbers on lines for the first round, and still chalk heavy. You're going to see even higher lines for the first 2 rounds next year, huh? I mean, we'll have to see if the public shifts, though, because the first 2 days, public still bet the dogs.
Well, my take on it is the super conferences have really destroyed college sports, and football and basketball. And the basketball reason why is because you have a team like Auburn who didn't get in, but was close. They were like last team out. Oklahoma, same deal. But they did put some teams in like Iowa. Now, the reason, Iowa's not a Cinderella. It's Iowa. They're in the Big Ten. But Iowa was like 10th or 11th in the Big Ten. But because it's a super conference, they have to play all those teams so many times. So regardless of whether they even win or lose, their KenPom or net rating stays at a certain level, where a team like High Point, as the coach mentioned, even though they won 21 straight games, their net rating or KenPom never really budged because they're just playing teams in their conference. So the fact that these super conferences now have 16 teams, a bottom dweller in the conference, 11th, 12th seed, even if they go, 5 and 12 in the conference, their KenPom rating is still higher than what any other team in the lower leagues can do. And I think the fact that there's such big conferences, and the other even like the leagues like Conference USA, Atlantic 10, they've all been just decimated. They're not the same level of teams anymore, as those teams have moved on to either becoming a lot. Big 12 took on a lot of Conference USA teams. Louisville used to be in the Conference USA. It's just the whole dynamic of the super conferences has really screwed it up. And now the new Cinderella is basically like an Iowa, a bottom feeder team in a bigger conference is your new Cinderella.
Texas. Big Cinderella, Texas. Yeah, the most resources on anybody.
Cinderella, highest academic NIL department in the country.
Let me counter a little bit though. But the also it is retained, allowing to pay the players to retain better players from going to G League or to the NBA quicker. The European, Eastern European. I mean, look, it's no accident that Arizona and Illinois are here, and they have utilized that that stream of of roster building there. And Chris, I'm sorry, but the level of play is as good as it's ever been. And I mean, I'm even going back to when everybody would stay, 3 years, even the best players. I mean, the product is really, really good on the court. I agree. I mean, part of that March Madness, which we love. We loved this team that comes up. Who are these guys? Northern Iowa or even Gonzaga when Monson was there and they went all the way to the Elite Eight. No, it's just really, really good. The only thing the small conferences is really stack the deck to try and give the best chance of their regular season champion of advancing to the NCAA tournament as well. So, but
the main reason that you would have those Cinderellas is that those guys would stick together on the team for 4 years. You might get a senior-laden team with a coach who's been there the whole time, but that rarely happens now because if you have a really good player on a Northern Iowa or a Drake or a High Point, they're going to get poached by a bigger league to get paid, to go to a power conference team.
And the funny thing is, though, the thing about High Point, if you do your research, they're no Cinderella. Okay, they got lots of money, and it's up to some of these smaller schools if they want to play or not. I mean, some of these small private schools have all the money in the world, their endowment. Do they want to take it and put it into their basketball budget? They can do it because I think High Point's not going to go away. I mean, that coach is at Creighton. That coach is taking over from Coach Mack at Creighton. I mean, so he started it, and I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're just gonna, vanish after just one little run here.
All right, so if you're Auburn or somebody like it, a team like that from a big conference, are you going to schedule the High Points? And we heard this with Miami, Ohio.
The High Points just got to go there. Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Because Auburn this year, they're going to take a look at this and say, look, we overscheduled. They played Michigan, Arizona, Houston, Purdue.
The Miami, Ohio coach is full of crap, okay? You just got to go to their place.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need, you just ask every Big Ten school. You tell me 2, 3 aren't going to let you come to their place? No.
You find one.
No, that guy's full of crap. All right, UConn and Illinois 1.5, and Michigan, Arizona, Wolverines are 1.5. Who we got?
I want to talk about the Illinois UConn game. I just think, I mean, everyone is, the UConn situation. They won 2 out of the last 3 national championships. Hurley is, I think, 17 or 18-1 against the spread the last whatever it is, in the tournament. And I know, maybe I'm just trying to be on the opposite side of it, but I just don't think UConn is very good. I know they're in the Final Four, but they were life and death with Furman for a lot of the game. They played UCLA without Bilodeau. They trailed Michigan State after being out way out ahead early in the first half after shooting the lights out from 3 in the first half. They trailed Michigan State late. Probably should have lost that game. Obviously should have lost the Duke game. But they keep pulling magic out of a hat, and I'm just not buying it. I just think Illinois is a much better team. They're a much bigger team. They have older players. They're number 1 in offense. They're number 3 in offensive rebounding. They're 16th in free throw percentage. And I just don't see it with UConn. I know there's the possibility of them catching fire, but people are saying 1 of 18 from 3. That was abnormal. I think the numbers are actually right on. That's what they've been shooting. Not 1 of 18, but they did finish 4 or 5. So they were 5 for 23. And that's the percentage. That's like their average percentage the last 5 or 6 games. They shot 22% from 3 versus Duke, 33% versus UCLA, only 20% against Furman. Going back to the Big East tournament, they shot 16%, 3 of 19 versus St. John's. I just don't trust the shooting. I don't trust Sola Ball. I mean, even though Mullins made the big shot the other night, he was 0 for 5 before that shot. Caribbean hasn't been shooting it well from 3. I just think with the veteran leadership, you got Stojakovic, Merkovic, Avicic, and then the young kid Wagler and the veteran Boswell. They just got a lot of good. They got a lot of good weapons on this Illinois team, and I'm going to be on Illinois again. I advised taking them last week before the Houston game at 16-1, so I'm holding that ticket. I also have some great tickets on Arizona and Michigan, but I should logically hedge on UConn, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna play Illinois on the money line. I'm going to add more to it. I just think they're the better team. I think Brad Underwood got over the hump a little bit, and I think he's smart. He's got a lot of kids. I've heard some interviews with him this week where he said it's the best team and the most fun he's had coaching. The guys really like playing together. They're a team, no individuality. They're just in it as a team, and I really like that. And heading into the Final Four, that's something you want to hear from me, Coach.
All right, nothing on the other game. We got to run.
You know what? I just think it's going to be a great game. You get the number 1 offense. The number 4 offense going against the number 5 offense. Number 1 D against the number 2 D. Both teams are awesome in field goal percentage defense. I don't have a bet on the game. I'm just riding the futures. It doesn't really matter which one wins for me. Too bad it's not the national championship game, but I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be one fantastic game Saturday night.
Consider it opening day dinner over at Sabika, okay? These two teams, their strength, they like to attack the rim, and they both protect the rim. Get you a little under. I'm just giving little chocolate bunny under you, for you.
Under, okay, I like that. I mean, Jimmy, you're usually an over guy. I like it. Under.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. you must. No. I'm not an over guy. But on this one,
I'll bring my green jacket.
Yes. Well, Old Honest Coop. Old Honest Coop is going to have some competition with that green jacket this year at opening day, the third Friday in July. Chris, good luck to you this weekend. Happy Easter, brother.
All right, enjoy the games, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at Legacy Title, Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. Ashley Donald, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Mariana Haynes, Natalie and Bradford Smith, buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Rufino's. Also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a wonderful job for us over the years. So if you've had back pain, muscle soreness, neck pain, things that are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep or restricting your movement, let Dr. Goff and his staff help you out, getting you into a program that will target those problem areas and get you to feeling better. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers.
Troy Macker, working on a Good Friday. Troy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Just getting prepped and ready for what should be a pretty awesome weekend of college basketball.
What you thinking? Where are we seeing some of the public action? Look, most of the bets will be placed tomorrow for the Final Four, but early indication. Who is the public on?
Yeah, it is very split. The only really strong-ish play is Arizona to cover 1.5. They're 1.5-point underdogs. 69% of the money's on Arizona. We've seen some 4 or 5 figure bets on them. And everything else, I mean, Illinois, UConn, it's 54% money on Illinois, 50% tickets on UConn outright, 52% of the money on UConn to cover, 51% of the tickets on Illinois. For money line, Michigan, Arizona, 52% of the money on Michigan, 55% of the tickets on Arizona. So it's very split, and that makes sense. These are 4 very talented, very evenly matched teams, and I am really having a hard time figuring out who wins. I have some understanding or ideas of how the games could play out, but I don't know which team it benefits. So this is a very, very challenging weekend of kind of handicapping and finding bets. But I know once Saturday comes, the games are going to be exceptional.
All right. Well, tell me what's your thoughts on the game, and maybe I can complete the sentence for you on who to pull the trigger on.
Well, I'll tell you the only real conviction I have in terms of betting is, and I don't necessarily know if UConn's going to win, but I think at plus 108 underdog, that's a very good bet. Anytime you can get a team like UConn in a tournament setting where they've been exceptional at plus money, to win outright with a 1.5-point spread, I think that would be my value play. Certainly UConn has beaten Illinois this season. Granted, it was back in November. Keaton Wagler played 13 minutes. He was not yet Keaton Wagler. They were still starting Stojakovic. Wagler had 3 points. We're still like a month before he scores 46 points at Purdue. So completely different team. But I think the game script is the team that wins this game is going to be the team that shoots better from three-pointer. You could say, well, that's usually the case. But these two teams have been very streaky in shooting three-pointers. UConn got out into a big lead against Michigan State because they were red hot from three. The reason they got behind in that big hole against Duke is because they started 1 for 18 from three. Illinois has a lot of shooters, big and small guys, but they can be streaky at times too. So whoever's hitting shots, I think that is what's going to benefit. That game has early live betting written all over it, in my opinion. And then while the public is heavy on Arizona, I just don't know how that game plays out. Other than I don't think it's close. Not because I think one team's better than the other, but I think both teams are just such power punchers that, we see all these runs around the 12-minute mark of the second half that I think one team runs away with it in this game. But if they did this game 10 times, I don't know what the playout would be of those 10 games. So Michigan-Arizona is just such a hard game to figure out.
I think Michigan and Arizona, first of all, they've got these, they went the Eastern European route of, to build their roster. I mean, got some maturity there. They both rely less than most on the three-point line, and both defend the heck out the rim, but both attack the rim. So I think it's going to be your offensive strength attacking the opponent's strength, and I see some very low-scoring game in that one. I mean, two heavyweights defensively. I give Underwood credit; he's completely adjusted and evolved in his roster building and his coaching style. They're space and pace a little bit, and but they're also both teams. Illinois survived shooting so poorly from 3-point range and stayed in the game against Iowa and then won it at the end. They shoot free throws exceptionally well. I know that they didn't miss one down the stretch against Iowa, and that extended their lead. And then, but Michigan seems like the best team. They just seem. I mean, they just. I think May's got a little bit stronger on the bench. Than Lloyd here, and I just. I don't know. I mean, Arizona, Michigan's a heavyweight. It's the best two teams left in the tournament. But UConn, in the same sense, Troy, they survived a 1-for-17 start against Duke and still were close enough to pull it out. They had a gift at the end, but, man, the comeback was without the three-point line. So they do a lot of things also besides it. And the narratives, usually I fade narratives, but 17-1 in a tournament straight up and against the spread the last four tournaments is real. I mean, it's no joke that Izzo's teams are better in March. To Patino, you think his teams. And that's why these earlier season meetings, when they talk about, 2.5 months ago, there's no sport that is different over the course of the season because of the turnover in rosters from year to year, like college basketball. So I'm not listening to anything about what happened in December and January.
Yeah. I think there's some really interesting. I'm a big guy. I was a power forward in high school and college, and I love really elite big men, and all four of these teams have it. Illinois has multiple big men who can shoot the three. The Ivisic brothers, and UConn has Terrace Reed, who I think is the most important player this weekend. He's the reason that I think UConn was able to stay in the fight against Duke. He had 25 points, 15 rebounds. It's stupid stat. He can run the floor pretty well for a big man. That's a really interesting battle. Arizona, Michigan, Krivas versus Adai Mara and Yaxel Lenenborg is going to be great. And then Merez Johnson versus Colapese or Brandon Burries. There's a lot of really good inside play, but I think ultimately it's going to come down to extra points and 3 points. And Arizona has been taking just a freakish amount of 3 points from the foul line. And if these games are dictated inside, you're figuring there's going to be more fouling, there's going to be more free throws. I always think back of the 2007 Final Four game between Ohio State and Georgetown, Roy Hibbert and Greg Oden, and both guys were in foul trouble in the first 2 minutes. Referees could really get a tight whistle in these games. And if I'm a coach in a game where my opposition has elite big men, I'm attacking them early to try to get them out of the game, get to the foul line, get points without the time coming off the clock, and try to change the lineup for your opposition. And I think that's what Arizona has done very well this postseason. Shooting of 130 free throws to their opponents only shooting around 60, which is crazy. So while it's going to be dictated inside, I think extra points from behind the arc and 3 points when clock stopping is what's going to determine who wins these games.
Well, Terrace Reed, speaking of big men, I mean, he was phenomenal against Duke, and I mean, he and Boozer, I mean, went toe to toe. Boozer had 27, he had 26. Reed had 9 rebounds. Boozer had 8. I mean, 4 assists for Boozer, 3 assists for Reed. I mean, they went at it in 4 blocks for Reed as well. So I mean, just as compared to 2 to Boozer, I mean that's a National Player of the Year, and he's the one that kept him in it, man. And remember, he was injured. I know you know this, Troy, but injured early in the season, and it took him a little time to get back. But he has been lights out. All the big men. Terrace Reed has been as good as anybody in this tournament. So. Playing up to your big man. The ratings, I think the best in 26 years or something like that for the NCAA tournament. Usually the ratings, television ratings, and handle are correlated. Have you guys seen a record handle over at Bet Rivers for the tournament?
I wouldn't say record. It's up from last year, certainly. Especially in the second weekend games. First weekend we always take a massive amount. That's where you get a lot of casual bettors, one-time bettors, things like that, who jump in part of the madness. But we really saw a carryover to the second weekend, where there's less games, people's brackets are done, so there's more reason for there's a bigger drop off from the really casual bettors. But we're seeing a huge uptick there in terms of second weekend money and tickets compared to the last few years. And early numbers for this Final Four indicate it's going to be very heavily bet on, specifically for Bet Rivers, considering, Michigan and Arizona are both regions of ours. Certainly we're in Illinois, but in Illinois is one of our biggest regions, but you cannot bet on in-state college teams in the state of Illinois, no longer even in person. So that is, a huge downfall there, because I think that the handle on this game and if they win the national championship game is just absolutely massive if you can. But it's funny, in the state of Connecticut, you can't bet on in-state college teams either. So that game, if you're in Connecticut or Illinois, is a wash.
Very good. Troy, we appreciate it. Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Macher, Machir. You playing the Easter Bunny late Saturday night, so have fun with that with the little ones, man. That's always fun. And don't get them hollow eggs. Get those full chocolate bunnies, okay? Don't get into a discount aisle, Troy.
Oh, absolutely not. I go full bore on chocolate candies, and running out of time to really keep the magic alive and have the true believers. So that's on my schedule for about an hour. Once I knock out some work, I'm going to take brunch and pick up a lot of chocolate candy.
Troy, enjoy it, man. We'll talk to you Monday. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. My buddy Lucas Ragusa has been there every step of the way. But as long as we've been doing sports talk radio here in this town, Lucas has been working in the AC heating company. The AC heating, generator installations, maintenance, you name it. We are leaning on those AC units, starting to, and we're only going to use them more and more. Service today, every day, same day service. You will never sleep hot. You call today, you get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products. Membership programs are the way to go. Covers all services with discounts and extended warranties. We'll let you know when it's time for your unit to get that maintenance check to make sure that it's working at its optimum, the efficiency, and all. It's going to save you, going to avoid more costly repairs, and it's going to allow your unit to run more efficiently. Give us a call at Total Maintenance 480-1000, 480-1000.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
John Rothstein for CBS Sports reporting that Rick Stansberry has signed an agreement to be an associate head coach under Will Wade at LSU. Stansberry spent 14 seasons at Mississippi State, won 55% of his conference game there, took the Bulldogs to the NCAA tournament 6 times in his tenure there, spent 7 years at Western Kentucky, and then 2 years on Penny Hardaway's bench at Memphis. He sat out last season, 66 years old. He will be the lead assistant on Will Wade's bench, so an experienced SEC coach and a guy that comes with a very solid reputation as a recruiter joins Will Wade as the first, LSU hadn't announced this yet, but CBS is reporting.
How old is he?
66. Been in the game a long time, but he will be an
Probably
experienced
Bob Boyd, Tim Floyd,
Richard
John
Williams,
Brady.
that trip.
Yep.
Hour number 2, straight ahead of Rufino's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Otten Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
Brucey, how you doing, buddy? Yes, indeed. Happy Good Friday. Bruce, you're our historian. We've been waiting. How do you want to put into this game? The end sequence, of course, Duke being involved. 1 versus 2 matchup, regional. Put it in its historical perspective for us.
Well, it was about as bad a meltdown, at least in those last few seconds. That sequence was unforgivable there. And I have a hard time remembering a much more gut-wrenching loss than that for Duke. Although, the seeds of that were being planted all throughout the second half there because, UConn kept hanging around. And you end up with 20 turnovers in the game. They could have survived 19 turnovers. They couldn't have survived that 20th. And then, of course, Mullins hitting that bomb at the end. I think it was one of the most brutal losses I can remember, especially, when it was, I think back to really unlikely comebacks. I mean, I go back to NC State in '83, although they didn't have that big of a deficit to make up. I think 8 was as much as they were behind in that game against Houston. UConn was still double digits behind with a little over 5 minutes left in that game. Yeah. So more, I think, I'd credit UConn for that, but Duke did not do a good job protecting that lead, and there's no way at the end Caden Boozer should throw that ball. I know that I'm doing this in retrospect, but just hang on to the ball. The only thing that could have happened that gave UConn a chance is exactly what Duke did. If you hang on to the ball, you get fouled. You're going to get 2 free throws. There's like 3 seconds left. You're not going to lose the game in that scenario. But what he did gave UConn a chance. It was about as bitter a loss as I can remember.
A lot of people talking, you cradle the ball, whatever, this and that. Jay Billis was very honest, and he could have held on this information, but he said anybody who's paid for Coach K and in Shire who continue most of Coach K's coaching approaches said when they practice it at the end of every practice, when you beat in the press, you catch and turn and face the defense. And then he didn't. He went straight to the dribble. He was tempted by 2 guys by themselves under the goal and threw it up. And so, I mean, no, it was all on an inexperienced player, and that's part of their roster build right now. It's part of kind of rolling the dice a little bit. But most things in sports, Bruce, and you've hinted on it, most things in sports, this miraculous play is an opponent's breakdown, giving them a chance. I mean, how does the Denver defensive back get beat over the top, when Joe Flacco threw that pass in Denver in the divisional round? I mean, how does that happen? I mean, you can't, deeper than deepest. I mean, you just can't let somebody beat you over the top in sort of those situations. So, Duke, but UConn was let off the hook. They call a timeout down 3 with 29 seconds to go and don't get a shot off. The guy got fouled and had to go to the line, with 10 seconds, and then they have to foul immediately, and they couldn't do that. They're one turn in executing a pass from maybe running the whole clock out. And how bad would Hurley have looked then? So that's sort of the story between us, under the story. UConn got off the hook for a coach that's been ultra successful, 17-1 straight up the last 4 tournaments, and against the spread. And they were terrible down the stretch, and Duke let them off the hook.
You're right. I mean, Hurley didn't exactly coach up a storm down the stretch either. And that sequence at the end, it also wasn't working out that well for UConn. But you're right. I mean, Duke, they didn't even have to advance the ball into the front court because there were less than 10 seconds on the clock on that last possession. And it looked like, they might have a chance to do it because UConn was pushing the wrong buttons too. But again, I'll go back and the seeds of that were planted throughout the second half. How many empty trips did Duke have? They really got careless with the ball, and guys falling down. Shire should have recognized at some point that Isaiah Evans, as good as he was in the Friday game against St. John's, was not helping them on Sunday. I mean, he was a mess, and he kept them in the game, and they made a couple of bad turnovers. So it was not a shining moment for either of the coaches, but more of a stain on Duke. That was really something that should not have happened.
Who was the guard that just tripped, on his own, that gave up the N1 run out with about 3.5 to go? It just fell, lost his footing. The guard for Duke as he was kind of crossing the top of the key to the right, and the guy ran it out and and of course Duke compounds the mistake by fouling him on the layup, and he makes the free throw. That was a turnover turned into 3. We know about with a minute 5 to go, whatever. Boozer turns it over. leads to the Caravan 3 to cut it to 1. That was, and in the last one, 3 late turnovers turned into 3-point plays for UConn. So, UConn stole it. But will it have? It was not the entire game like Duke and Kentucky was back in the was it Philadelphia in the Spectrum, right, Bruce? When the Leitner shot. Yeah, so it wasn't back and forth the lead changes because that was the first lead change since 2-0. Okay, for UConn. Yeah. But can it spike the interest in college basketball? They did set some good ratings this year, like the best since like 23, 26 years.
Yeah, and see, it goes back to the spectacle of watching this just for fans. It's pretty exciting. So, I mean, as long as the game remains good, and this is the one thing college sports is able to do. When it comes down to the field in football, when it comes down to the court in basketball, the stuff is still really good. Fans still like it. And whatever has gone on behind the scenes, whatever they mess up, whatever the administrators do and the conference commissioners and all that, whatever mistakes they make, when it comes down to it, the fans just want to be entertained, and they like what they see, and it's good. It's good theater. So I expect we might get some more of that this weekend.
All right, let's start with the first one. It is Illinois and UConn Fighting Illini -1.5 against UConn. The narrative again, Hurley 17-1, and the going back to the 4-year tournament span, straight up and against the spread. But boy, Illinois, they showed also that they can win without being 3-point dependent. They were terrible behind the arc against Iowa and still pulled away to win by double digits.
Yeah, interesting. This is a rematch of a game played the night after Thanksgiving week in Madison Square Garden. And in retrospect, it's kind of an odd game. If you think that matchup meant something, you will like UConn here. If you think it didn't mean much, you might like Illinois. Some odd things about that. First of all, early in the season, Illinois really hadn't hit stride yet. They were a slight under, about 3.5, 4-point underdog into Madison Square Garden that night. It was before Keaton Wagler really had established himself as a threat. He had scored in single digits 2 of the 3 previous games. It was a game, though, where Illinois accomplished one thing it wanted to do. It got Terrace Reed in some foul trouble, and he was hardly a factor in the game. He only played 15 minutes. He had more fouls for than points, too. Yet, Illinois never had a look at the game. UConn won pretty easily, 74-61. Defense, again, was key, especially defending the arc. They blitzed screens, they pressured on the perimeter, and Illinois was only 6 of 29 from deep, so that really hurt them in that game. But nobody had an especially big game for UConn. I think Silas Ball led them with 15. I tend to dismiss that game because it was so long ago, and it's over 4 months ago. And Illinois, since then has really evolved, I think, a lot more. All these bigs that they have, and they did what they wanted to do to Reed in that first game. I mean, they got him in foul trouble. I don't know that if that happened again, I don't know that UConn can survive that because Reed has been such a force. It's been such a force in the tournament, and we talked about all this length that Illinois has. Fundamentally, it should be a problem to any team, including UConn. Their lineup averages 6'8". They have got a couple of 7-footers, the twin Visich brothers, down on the blocks. They've got 6'9", 6'9", 6'8". They are big. They should be able to at least hold their own against a Terrace Reed, who has been really the force for UConn here. And like we said, UConn, boy, you're living on borrowed time. Credit to them for hanging in there last week, but they really dodged the bullet there last week. I'm going to give Illinois a shot here. When I have watched them this year, enough time. There have been a few times when they didn't look that good, and like the Michigan game in February really was a bother to me. But for the most part, when they get clicking, they're the best looking team in the country. I think Illinois wins this one. I'm not sure if it gets over the total, but I'm going to go Illinois in this one.
Illinois minus the 1.5 in the first game. 5:10 Central tip in that. Come see Charlie and I. We're going to be hunkering down over at Bally's in the brand new sportsbook downtown, the DraftKings outlet. Again, that line is at Bally's and the Queen at 1.5. So let's get to the late one and the two number one seeds that advanced here, and Michigan and Arizona. Boy, these teams. These are two teams in the era where some teams are just so 3-point dependent. Not these two. Michigan 1.5 over Arizona.
By the way, I wonder about some of these Tommy Lloyd, North Carolina rumors. I mean, it doesn't seem like it should happen. He has a huge buyout, but the rumors don't seem to be going away. So I don't know if that's going to play anything into it, but just thought I would mention it here.
What's his buyout, Bruce?
What's that?
$11 million, I think. It's $11 million.
$11 million. What's the buyout?
Right? Yeah, I mean they could probably afford that in North Carolina, and the rumors haven't stopped. So we'll see what goes with that. Though I still think it's unlikely. We will see.
He's not diffusing it. I mean, who do you think's going to get it? My money would be on Lloyd.
I guess he's such a good spot there at Arizona, but it is North Carolina.
It's a very good spot.
I don't think I think there's something to this Billy Donovan stuff, because it's taken a lot. All these other jobs have been filled, and they're waiting for something at North Carolina. They could be either waiting for Arizona to be done with its season, they could be waiting for Donovan to be done with the NBA season. So I still think that might happen. I think he might want out and back in one more shot in college. We'll see. But that'll play out in the next week or so, I think. As far as this goes, Michigan, listen, I don't want to belabor the refs here because calls go both ways, but and I know Michigan ended up looking tremendous in the Elite Eight. But once Tennessee's bigs got in foul trouble, that was their only ticket to stay in that game. And it was a close game. They were led for first part of the first half. They were close. That totally took the air out of Tennessee's balloon, and Michigan capitalized, and the guards started to hit shots. And really, I mean, the foul problems took Tennessee out of that game. Arizona is built differently. I think you can make a case that Arizona is better position by position across the floor than Michigan. Lendeborg, maybe not. But this team has size, and, the Mara factor. And one thing Dusty May did when he put this thing, by the way, there's another guy who might be still involved in North Carolina, I think it's Dusty May too. But when he put this roster together, what he did on the front line there was tremendous. By getting Lendeborg and by getting Maurice Johnson and Ademar from UCLA, the 7-3, because those other two are so good at the dirty work in the paint, Mark could just focus on being a rim protector. And he not only one of his fourth block shots in the country, but altering shots. I mean, he didn't have to worry about a lot of the dirty stuff that the other guys took care of. So that worked out very well for Dusty May. I still don't know about this perimeter, though. And even though they hit some shots in that game against Tennessee and they played better lately, they do not have a lot of length out there in the perimeter. And we've seen that be a vulnerability for Michigan at times. We talk about Arizona and all these big. We talked about Krivas, the big 7'2" kid they've got to match Mara. They have size up front. Philip Keith has something. I think right now one of the other freshmen, Archenkov, the 6'7" wing, he actually might be their best player now. He's come on like gangbusters through the season. We know about Burry's coming on the freshman. Philip Keith, they relentlessly attack the glass. Rebound margin, points in the paint. They get to the foul line. We saw them do that constantly in the tournament and certainly the Purdue game. But it's out there in the perimeter. And I've said all year, if Michigan loses, this is where they're going to get beat. And this is where it happens, I think, because I like Burry's and I like Bradley and I like Karchenkov more. They've got more length out on the perimeter. I think they're going to boss the backcourt the way Duke did in that game against Michigan in D.C. in late February. Arizona wins this game, gets to the final on Monday night.
Bruce, did you realize that Axel Lendeborg was so good last year when he was coming out of UAB?
Not that good. No, I knew he was pretty good, but I mean, he's turned out to be one of the prizes of the portal. So, and I give Dusty May, credit. I mean, he put that thing together all from the portal on the front line there, and those guys from the off this year. I mean, they just click. And I'll go back to, I know Michigan's won a few games lately here too, but I really think this thing they click so well early. And and they looked so good in November. They became sort of overvalued in the marketplace. I talked about this last week, but they had a couple of really bad point spread streaks during the season. I know they've recovered here, and they've also covered their last three in the dance. The opener they didn't, but they'd only covered 1 of 9 before the second round game against St. Louis. They had a 7-game spread losing streak in January. I just don't know that they ever quite hit that peak that they did late November. You can say maybe they did against Tennessee last week, but even last week, the 2 SEC teams they beat, there were some flaws on both of those sides that they were able to exploit. I'm not sure they can do that against Arizona.
We talked about it all year. After Florida, there was nobody in the SEC who was respected or expected to make a serious run. I thought their defense in the second half, perimeter defense, was exceptional against Alabama on Friday night. Jackson Lindenborg, by the way, the last 5 games, 4 tournament games, and a Big Ten final against Purdue, he's shooting over 50% from 3, 15 of 29. Yeah. He's 37.5 for the season, which is really good. Redshirt senior. So age as well, so age and talent. But I remember Merrill last year at UCLA. He didn't impress me a whole lot, but Dusty May he's developing some of these guys as well. I think he's really got the new age look. And did you see him in his immediate availability yesterday in Indianapolis? He said, we used to invest 200 hours of resources on trying to get guys that would go somewhere else. It's easier now than ever to recruit. Who says that? So with everybody griping and complaining and retiring, he says it's easier than ever. So, hey, some have adapted and some have not.
Let me back up on the Tommy Lloyd thing because his buyout was $11 million at Arizona until Wednesday. On Wednesday, April 1st, it went down to $9 million. Can I ask this question? Because Will Wade had a similar clause in his contract that dropped his buyout on April 1st. Why would a school do that on April 1st?
It's into the season.
I know, but if you want it to be a deterrent, this is when people are hiring coaches. You just wait till April 1st. If you wanted it to be a deterrent, a full deterrent, why wouldn't you put it on May 1st or June 1st?
You should be alerted enough by April 1st, as we saw NC State was.
Yeah.
Even with Boo Carrigan, who's calling his new coach the wrong name. Realize that.
I would just say if you're the school, you essentially are robbing yourself of a year by putting it on April 1st. Back it up a month. Nobody wants to wait till May 1st or June 1st if you really want to be safe.
Charlie, the school didn't protect themselves in the best way in the buyout.
Not in my opinion. They did
no, but I mean this is standard operation. I think Lloyd could have denounced these rumors of Mitchell, especially with his team going to the Final Four, much strongly. I think he's leaving himself some wiggle room. We will see. Bruce, we appreciate it, buddy. Happy Easter, man. Take care of them grandkids, Easter Bunny.
Okay, happy Easter, boys. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Bruce Marshall back with the gold sheet. So, boy, you talk about a really cool thing. The Valero is supposed to be a lot of the heavyweights skip it, go to the Masters. How about this threesome? McIntyre, 12 under. Oberg is 11 under, and Jordan Spieth. That's your threesome, finishing up in the back 9 in Fort Worth right now.
Jordan Spieth's not 11 under, is he?
No, he's like 1 or 2. But I mean, that's some heavyweights, man.
No, it's not. He's from. I was going to say home course, but no, he's from Dallas, right?
I'm sure he's played this course a lot.
Yeah. He knows it. You're doing crawfish this weekend for Easter, or maybe today. Get them clean. Everybody likes clean crawfish. You don't want dirty crawfish. Get to the Thibodeau store, the Pierreport store, now open in LaRose and Lockport as well. The crawfish washers are there, the greens, the reds, and the purples. All of them are right now available to you. So biggest crawfish weekend of the year. Make sure you get those crawfish clean from the Thibodeau store. All your lawn and garden tools right now at a discount at thethibodeaustore.com. Your outdoor power equipment, your outdoor patio furniture, all of that available. Get by 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, Highway 70 in Pierreport, Max Gautreau's home store.
I'll be stopping by the Pierreport store tomorrow.
You are what are you picking up? You got the big family get together, right?
I'll probably be using the grocery stuff, but we might have to pick up something because we normally do some like a brisket or something. Yeah. So I might have to pick up some of those kind of what are the chips, the wood chips,
Yeah.
to put in the hopper,
They got it.
Oh, yeah, they got all kinds of different flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, man. Man, at the store is impressive.
For the holiday weekend, pick up all your supplies at the Thibodeau store, the Pierre Parts store, again in La Rose.
I got the
and
log
Lockport.
rack. Well, I mean, you need some 2x4s. Okay. And Garrett's like, well, come on. Let's go to the lumber part of the store. I was like, really? Yep. Need these 6 feet long.
You know what else they do
on my
with
way.
that? You know what else they do with that lumber? They deliver it. If you, you can set it for delivery out of the Pierre Parts store.
Right on cue, Charlie. As I said, Tommy Lloyd got a new deal at Arizona. So there you go.
Okay.
Boy, I've hit that one square, huh?
Buyout be damned. Okay. Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Rufino's. Glad that you are making us a part of this holiday weekend. A little more context to what happened with Tommy Lloyd, which was that not only is he staying in Arizona, but he said in his press conference that he turned down North Carolina. So he said that he had a phone call with Michael. He said the phone call with Michael Jordan never happened. He said, my Michael Jordan is Steve Kerr. So he actually said he turned the job down in this. This is the pre-Final Four press conference.
You don't think he was offered? Of course.
He was.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you act like it surprises you.
No, I'm not surprised that he was offered the
Okay,
job.
so
I'm a little
your
surprised.
tone-
I'm a little surprised that he said that in the press conference. That I turned down North Carolina.
Now that it's done, he's not going to divulge that while it's going on. But he talked to him and he thought about it.
And we certainly knew that he was going to be. It just usually when a guy signs a contract, he's like, I'm just happy to be here. It's like, North Carolina's a great job or whatever. But he said, no, they offered me the job and I turned it down. That a little unusual, maybe.
No. He now he's being truthful, but before he was considering it. I think that's obvious.
Sure.
His tone is different from what it's been the last
Everybody
week.
takes North Carolina's call. You at least take the call.
The Jordan thing is overrated to me. I mean,
sure.
I mean, is he playing for you in his prime? I mean, come on, man.
No.
I mean,
But somebody at North Carolina call. Everybody takes North Carolina's call.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a top 3 or top 5 job in Arizona. It could be arguably top 10 or top 15. So it's not that much better than what he has. And I mean, he's shown it, and other coaches have shown that they can compete at the highest level at Arizona. Multiple coaches, whether it's Lute Olson, whether it's Sean Miller, and whether it's him, they can compete at the highest level. So, and most of his time has been spent in the western part of the country. At Gonzaga for so long, and now at Arizona. Now he's certainly attacking the Eastern European professional leagues. I mean, he's got that figured out. And, I mean, we can get on Oates all at once. That's what Oates is complaining about. Wait a minute. These guys are pros, too. Don't hate the play. Get over there, Nate.
Yeah.
You can go over to Eastern European and get yourself some. Don't hate the other guys that are on it before you. So,
and he's got a lot of political capital at Arizona. Whether he wins this national championship or not, he goes to North Carolina. Your margin for error
100%.
is low.
100%. He's a bigger deal at Arizona than he'll ever be at North Carolina. Yes, he's just another guy at Arizona. Even if he wins a national championship, yeah, 100%.
He's won 81% of his games at Arizona, 79% of his conference games.
And Big 12 and ACC are washed. Big 12 probably better, huh?
From a money standpoint,
what not?
Yeah, I think the ACC's got him by a little bit, but again, the ACC's on that. Well, the ACC's on that sliding scale. You don't really know. North Carolina, I would imagine, is at the higher end of the revenue distribution in the ACC.
In football.
What's the future of the ACC?
Well, that's the thing.
I think the Big 12 is a little. I think I would give it a little bit of an edge as far as stability.
I think you're probably right.
I think they've kind of gotten a little bit of a comfort zone, and it's not so ridiculous with the ACC, Palo Alto, and Berkeley being in the ACC too.
It's a little bit better. I mean, it's still tough to go from Tucson to Morgantown, but it's a little bit better.
It's better. It's better.
It's a little bit better.
I wonder if he really considered this. It was going to be a stretch to me anyway. I wonder if this was just a way to get.
He considered it enough to have Arizona redo his deal.
I think he considered it.
Could have been a little tactical just to get a little more money?
No, that's exactly what it was. If Arizona doesn't come back to him, then he gets a little bit more serious about it. But I think his preference obviously was to stay. But if Arizona wouldn't have come up with this new deal, would he have gotten a little bit more serious about it after the Final Four? Maybe so.
Ultimately, that's what happened. He did use it as leverage. Okay, so you can't argue the fact. But North Carolina, I mean, no, I think he. You don't think that Arizona just came up with this proposal today? I got to believe if they're doing their work. I mean, they had something. Sure. They had something in the works, at least letting him know. No, this he ultimately he did use it as leverage. Can't argue that. But Carolina is that's. I mean, what better offer are you going to get? Kentucky? Is Kentucky a better job than North Carolina? North Carolina's number one, and so Kentucky's number one in the SEC program.
Right.
I mean, probably Kentucky won. But I can tell you what, if you think you're just another guy at North Carolina, what are you at Kentucky?
Well, you got
they'll eat you up a lot quicker.
Yeah, you got no margin for error there. Either they did a poll earlier this week with a bunch of coaches, and they asked them what the number one job in college basketball was, and they said Duke, but Kentucky and North Carolina were like tied for second, so it was like right there, and then Kansas was fourth. I think that's fair. They're all pretty much what and what. Yeah. This gets real interesting. The NBA season ends on April the 9th, so what is that, next Thursday is the last day of the regular season? If Billy Donovan turns him down and Dusty May turns him down, this gets real interesting because the candidates drop off pretty significantly after those first three. And if Lloyd's out of the equation, if Donovan and May both tell him no, I don't know who's the next guy on the list.
Mark Byington territory. I mean, that's kind of the names you'd be looking at. I think if you pass there.
I don't know. I don't know who the fourth name on the list is. I know the first three in whatever order you think they're in, but I don't know who the fourth name on the list is.
You can rush into it like NC State, but North Carolina is way stronger than NC State. So, I mean, no, you can still get a really, really good coach, but you got to be. Byington is not a bad one. I mean, Vanderbilt, what did he take over? I mean, back-to-back trips to the tournament. I mean, he kind of understands the new game, and I think that's what they need more than anything. They need somebody outside the family. It's been forever. I mean, Dean Smith was a promotion from within. That's how long they've been within the Carolina family.
Yeah,
who was Dean Smith on whose staff again? It was
oh gosh, he took that job in the 50s. I think he was there late 50s, early 60s when he started.
This is bad. Of course, Bruce would have known, but I'm drawing a blank on the guy. But when you see the name, you've heard of him before.
Yeah.
Larry Brown worked for him.
No, the coach before Dean Smith.
Oh, who did Dean Smith?
The head coach of North Carolina before Dean Smith was.
James Naismith.
No, he's a Kansas guy.
While he looks that up, we were kind of rushed at the end of the first hour on Rick Stansberry. What do you remember about him at his time at State?
Frank McGuire.
Yeah.
You think you've heard of him?
Yeah, I should have known that one. That's on me. What do you think of the Stansberry hire?
I think that that a guy like Will understands the resources, and one of his resources is a guy who is kind of. Somewhat, I mean, he's a part of the program and he's not, but a guy like John Brady. I think this is somewhat a John Brady recommendation, and
Brady's certainly familiar with him,
of course. And I think that it's just fine. Yeah, I mean, here's a guy who's got a Final Four. He was a very good coach. He was part of a very respected group, that Brady, Tim Floyd, Bob Boyd group. And he is certainly he's got to get updated as far as roster, but Will's got that covered. Will's strength is building a roster. It is maybe some more sound basketball minds on the staff because I want to see a little bit improved basketball IQ by Will's teams.
Stansberry's son was on Wade's staff, auxiliary staff last year, his son Isaac. So obviously Stansberry's had some conversations with him probably well back a little bit on this. We are at Ruffino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live Live at Lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, let's go out to New York and veteran handicapper Ace Seminara, 2-1 again after 3-0 last Friday. Ace, happy Easter to you, brother.
You as well, Jimmy, and all your listeners out there. All the best to everybody.
Yes, indeed. And so let's get to it. Major League Baseball, tons of day action because a lot of these teams, this is their opening day after they started off with road trips. And we start off with Colorado and Philadelphia, and you look a lot of wind conditions around. The sports. We're looking at a very windy Valero Open down in Fort Worth. A lot of other wind as well as Oberg has to settle for a par there. He falls behind 2 back. But anyway, Colorado and Philadelphia, and one of the day action. You're looking at the total.
I am, Jimmy. And before we get into it, 3-0 so far to start on the free picks on the air with you. We had the Yankees opening day in that game in San Fran, then the Yankees again with Schlittler and Texas the other day. So great to give your listeners an opportunity to start off the baseball season 3-0 in the free picks. And another opportunity to get my free picks, just text the word free picks. Text service 631-805-6165. You'll get my top-rated free play every day, whether it's a baseball play, basketball in the NBA, the last couple of days of the Crown or NIT or the Final Four games, certainly. But no hassles. You text the word free picks to 631-805-6165, and you will get my top-rated free play every day. We're absolutely on fire. But, we've got Mother Nature playing a factor in that game today. Colorado, exactly as you mentioned, making their home debut. First 6 games having to be on the road. They kept a couple of their core players, didn't certainly have a very good team, but they've made an effort to run a little bit more. 10 stolen bases so far to start the season, which is a good start for them. Lorenzen only went 4 1/3 last outing, gave up 3 runs. Nola only 5 innings the last start for Philly, also giving up 3 runs. Early in the season, you're just not going to see too many pitchers that are going to go 7, 8, 9 innings. With this game being played in Colorado, obviously everybody knows about the thin air there. Well, Mother Nature's going to help us out with 18-mile-an-hour winds blowing out. That total of 10 right there, Philadelphia getting an opportunity to get on the road there in that stadium with Schwarber and a lot of their big power hitters. Colorado finally being at home. I expect that game to go way over 10, be more like a softball game, like a 10-8, 11-8 final, something like that. Get on the over 10 on the Philly-Colorado game this afternoon to continue our baseball good start to the season.
All right, let's shift to the NBA and, who's tanking, who's not. Is this and boy, the Knicks, after they had their they did at least cancel their the parade or the banner for their in-season tournament. That's silly, but they were ready to, kind of make the reservations for the NBA Finals at that point back in December. It hasn't worked out quite like that. Boston kind of comfortably ahead in the divisional race at this point. Knicks are 14.5 right now at home against the Bulls. 6:40 Central Tip in the Garden.
Yeah, and you talk about this time of the year, Jimmy, we got some teams tanking and other teams jockeying for positioning. This makes it better, like myself. I love this time of the year for the NBA. I'll admit, I'm all in on college hoops most of the year, and I don't do much NBA. I monitor it during the regular season, but these last couple of weeks of the year, when you've got teams that are laying down and have nailed it in, they just sent it in on the season, all of the Bulls, okay, and Coach Billy Donovan, who's getting more questions about whether he's going to leave town for Carolina, has to turn down those questions every day. After a tremendous start on the season for their talent level at 23 and 22, 6-25 in their last 31 games. Trust me, they can see the boat at the dock, and they just want to get off on that cruise in a couple of weeks. While the Knicks right now sitting at 3rd seed, 2 games behind the Celtics for the 2 seed, they own the tiebreaker. They're also 2 games only ahead of Cleveland for the 4 seed, and they own the tiebreaker over them. So they cannot right now sit down and relax. They have absolutely been losing some games against really good teams, but beating all the bad teams up. And right now there's a lot of pressure on Coach Brown. He was brought in, replaced Thibodeau, more of a defensive coach, because he was going to get their offense revved up. Started off early in the season like that. As you mentioned, they won that early season tournament. Meant nothing to any real Knicks fan or anybody that really cares. They want to see them hang a real banner in the Garden. It's been a long, long time. I think tonight and the last 5 games going to start revving up their offense. Brunson only averaging 20 points in the last 10 games, well below his average. They need him to get up more along the lines of 30 or 32 points a game like he was doing in the playoffs for them last year. Lay that 14.5 and watch the Knicks put up 130 points or more tonight in the Garden. And again, Jimmy, free pick service. Anybody out there that wants help, I cover everything. All right, I've got a guy that does hockey for me. I do my own basketball. I do my own baseball. I do my own football. We're winning consistently. Text the words free picks to 631-805-6165. No pressure whatsoever. You'll get my top-rated free pick every day, and we'll help you win.
One last pick for us, Ace, and that is the Final Four tomorrow. Both of these lines are playing both at 1.5. The Illini of 1.5 over UConn. 139.5 is a total, much higher total in the Michigan-Arizona game at 157.5. But again, a 2-3 and a couple of ones here in Indianapolis for the Final Four. Let's look at the first one. 5:09 Central tip in Indianapolis. Again, Illinois, 1.5, 139.5.
It's almost like a forgotten game, Jimmy. It's kind of insulting to both of these teams because everybody's already coronated the winner of Michigan-Arizona to win the national championship. And here comes Connecticut winning two out of the last 3 titles. All right, back in there again, looking to 3 out of 4. Wouldn't have been done since UCLA back in the 60s and the 70s. Illinois hasn't been to the Final Four in over 20 years. But here they are in Lucas Oil Stadium. All right, let's not forget where this game is being played. Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, 2 hours away from Illinois' campus. This is going to be like a home game for Illinois. But also, Lucas Oil Stadium is a football stadium. I just watched all of their practices. Right now, Connecticut's is going on right now. Michigan's, is going on. I'm watching everybody's practices on CBS Sports. Illinois was one of the only teams that was actually scrimmaging. They literally started running up and down the court earlier today. Haven't seen that ever. I think that kind of shows a little weakness there on Underwood. Hasn't been in this situation before. First Final Four for him. Well, Coach Hurley's going to be used to this. They did play early in the season in MSG, all right, back in November. Not really a contest. UConn ran over them, 74-61. Totally different teams that are playing now. Reed had but 2 points, played 15 minutes for UConn. Mullins was making his debut. He had but 2 points. Connecticut was 10 for 28 shooting threes. Illinois was only 6 for 29 shooting threes. Wagler scored a lousy 3 points and played 14 minutes. So these are totally different teams now than they were back then. For a lot of people saying UConn should be favored doesn't make any sense to me. I think they got the right team favored based on what they feel is going to be money coming in right now. And you can see that the money's dropped a little bit. Some money's coming in on Connecticut. I think the value in this game is going to be on the total. Illinois has stepped up their defense tremendously. They were a solid, respectable defensive team all throughout the season. But since Coach Underwood, and he was the defensive guru over Stephen F. Austin before he came here, he absolutely made an emphasis on them to start playing better defense and forcing more three-point shots. As everybody knows, Illinois is the tallest team in the entire country. They're going to pack it in down low. They're going to force those three-pointers from Solo Ball, from Damari, from Caravan. They're not going to allow any drives in there. I love the under 139.5. It happens a lot of times in these games. Final Four, all the pressure on these teams. They get out to these big cavernous stadiums. You look at behind the backboard, and you don't see the normal crowd right there. Then after another 300 feet, you're looking up on top of the stadium, and you see a fifth level, a fourth level. I mean, the stadium is just gigantic. I could see that having a major effect like it usually does in these big games. That and the pressure all on Illinois. They're favored in this game, and at home, I expect Connecticut's defense, Illinois' defense to come to the forefront. Give me the under 139.5 on that game. Yep. And let's not forget about the Crown Tournament games tomorrow, Jimmy, before the Final Four games go on. Never ever seen anything before like that. You're going to have action early on tomorrow. So, again, 631-805-6165. Text me. I've got information for you guys in baseball, in NIT, in College Crown, in NBA. Great time of the year to be playing. You'll get the free picks, 631-805-6165. Just text the word free picks. You're on board.
Thank you, Ace. Good luck to you this weekend. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
You as well. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right, don't forget our friends at United Community Bank. United Community Bank. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Our great team of bankers, Prentice Wilkes, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry. United Community Bank, come on by and see all of our great team of bankers. We can help discuss and help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Rufino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Some of the details coming out on Tommy Lloyd's deal. The deal is for 5 years and will average $7.5 million over the life of the deal. It makes him the fourth highest paid coach in college basketball, behind Bill Self, John Calipari, and Dan Hurley. So very nice contract.
Been criticized a little bit for when they get knocked out as being a favorite. You know, he's been eliminated pretty much every year when he was a favorite. But again, you know who's all-time leader in losses in a tournament as a favorite?
Mike Krzyzewski?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just figured he'd been favored more times than just about anybody else. Sweet 16 in every year but one, at least the Sweet 16 in every year but one since he's been at Arizona.
He's shown that he can compete at the highest level, man. He's got him in position every year. Every year. And in Arizona, you know, Arizona basketball is clearly their number one on that campus.
Yes, absolutely.
It's clearly.
I'm so looking forward to that game tomorrow night. I like Arizona by the slimmest of margins, but it's a coin flip.
It's
it could
a
go
tough one, man.
either way.
I'm kind of on both sides. These lines are baked so tight. I kind of lean into both unders. I've been in that building before for Final Four, and it is a little bit of an adjustment.
The game you watched was
all three of them went way under
in
that year.
Thanks to everybody for participating. Thanks to Carl for coming in on the holiday.
Thank you,
and
Carl.
Thanks to Rufino's for being our host on Monday. We will be at Chris Especially Foods right across the street. Join us at Bally's tomorrow night for the Final Four games, and, of course, on Monday night as well. From all of us here at Rufino's and Carl back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon from Rufino's on Highland Road. Have a happy Easter, everybody. This has been Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.